Welcome to the Building Design Primetime Podcast, focused on providing valuable information for anyone looking to undertake a new build or extension project. We'll share our tips, tricks and stories from a building designer's perspective.
The Building Design Primetime Podcast. I'm your host Amelia, and once again we're joined by Frank Geskus.
G'day Amelia, how are you?
Oh look, I'm pretty happy. It's Friday.
So am I. And I've got a glass of wine and I'm happy as Larry.
It's the simple things, isn't it?
Oh, very much so.
Yep.
I'm a simple guy. What can I say? Okay, no, I'm not.
I better not agree with you there.
Yeah, definitely.
What are we talking about today?
Well, I thought it's time to talk about budgets again. We've done it previously, and I just thought we'd focus more on specific items within the house when you're looking at renovating, building, brand new home, whatever it may be, extending. And we're going to look at things like budget-friendly materials, designs, things like that.
I think that's really good because so many people come into this process and, to be fair, a lot of them just don't know what to expect in terms of their budget.
Yeah, and 100%. And contrary to a lot of belief, we have a little bit of an idea, but we don't actually price projects. As a designer, we don't price them. So to work out the construction costs, if someone comes in, hey, I want to do an extension, I've got a builder in mind, they've referred you, happy days. I'm a happy man when it comes to that, purely because we're working with a builder. He's got invested interests and he can give advice on the costings all the way through so we can stick on a budget.
That makes total sense.
It does.
I think every building designer and architect should go down that track.
Oh, 100%. Also, we have a process within our system. Prior to planning, we highly recommend we get a quantity surveyor to go through the drawings, and we get preliminary structural engineering, the drawings are ready for planning, there's a few other bits and pieces that the client has to specify, and then we can organise a quantity surveyor to work out budget costings. Does it fit within the budget before we go for planning?
Yeah, good idea.
Well, it is, because too many times I've seen it where people go all the way to end of building and whatever circumstances it goes over, or their finances, and this has been happening a lot actually, the money they've been able to borrow has been reduced. The borrowing capacity has been reduced during that process.
Yeah.
That's tough. In the current climate, it's really tough on people where the banks, credit unions, whatever it may be, changing their rules. And risks, I suppose. And I suppose they have a right where you've been told, hey, I can borrow $450,000, and they come back, whoops, so we've revised that. I can only borrow $350,000.
Yes.
It's pretty tough to handle.
Yeah, and you'd be surprised, because I've been through lending process recently, what can actually affect how much you can borrow.
Oh, that's very interesting, yeah.
Yeah, I had a small amount of student debt. Very small amount, I think it was about $10,000, and that affected borrowing capacity by about $90,000.
I'm trying to figure out the math there. Anyway, I'm not going to go there.
I know, but there you go. Like, you'd be surprised what things can affect it.
So what they're telling you, if you had wiped out that debt, it wouldn't have affected your borrowing capacity.
That's right.
Essentially. Wow.
I had to wipe out that debt.
Yeah, okay, that was interesting. So you learned something.
And that's after I had paid off probably about 20 grand of that loan already. So
you basically
had not much left, $10,000.
Yep,
yeah,
you destroyed it. Yep. Well, it gives you a pretty good incentive, doesn't it?
It does, yeah.
That's really interesting. So anyway, that's a slight digression.
It is, yeah.
But it's a very valuable piece of information. We don't know this stuff.
No one tells you this stuff.
You don't know until you go through the process,
exactly.
do you? So, yeah. So we're looking at how to do things on a budget and maybe open people's eyes to certain aspects of the construction and the materials and even site. So we're going to quickly talk about that in a bit more detail. Where do you want to start?
I think we should start with the different types of materials.
Yep.
Budget
For
friendly.
which bit?
I think the roof.
Floors, walls, decks, underside of floor.
The roof,
ceiling.
I think, is a big one.
Okay, the roof.
Let's start with that.
Okay, I like a good roof. So if you're doing existing, if you're doing extension, alteration, you're going to copy what you have.
Yeah.
Generally. Problem is when you have an old tile roof and you can't match the pattern, well, you're definitely going to match the colour.
No.
So there's some choices that has to be done there. Either change it to colour, so if it's tiles, so we've done some where we've done the extension in colour but you can't see it from the front.
Yeah, okay.
And
So it still looks all right.
Yeah, still use some of the old tiles and make sure the front facade looks right. Other times I know we've had to replace the whole roof.
Really?
It was the only way to do it. It was horrible.
Just because you couldn't match the roof line?
Well, not the roof line, just the material, the tiles.
Yeah,
it's purely
okay.
tiles, you know. And the other thing to consider too is if you've got a colour bond roof or a corrugated iron, whatever it looks, depending where the extension goes, you might end up wanting to replace the front because you do an extension and it might do this kind of matching colour, but it's not. It's like a bad paint job repair on your car.
And they can look really bad.
It does.
Yeah.
So that needs to be considered with the type of extension you do. But colour bond, let's talk about just the materials that are available if you're doing a new home. Colour bond steel is by far the most popular in bang for your buck. But we have some builders that have got good deals with the tiling companies and they can do tiles cheaper than colour bond.
Really?
Yep. Now, that's not obviously the top end tiles, it's the basic stuff.
Yep.
But it's the same with colour bond though. If you're using standard colour bond, it can be relatively cost effective. Now, until you get into bushfire, then tiles becomes more expensive, which sounds weird because they've got to put paper underneath the tiles.
Oh, really? I didn't realise that.
Yeah, because the embers going through the gaps in the tiles. So metal roofs, definitely sticking to standard profiles. If you go for the fancy schmancy ones, which are becoming more popular, well, some of them, because of the tray, you look at these big flat trays with really sharp edge uprights, you know, some of those require plywood to be put in behind, so it sits on there flat and it doesn't buckle too bad. It's always going to move a little bit because, you know, you get sunlight on, it's going to heat up. So choose a standard colour bond roofing, I would suggest there, something that fits within the look of the house where you can. The different types of tiles, you've got concrete, clay tiles. As I understand it, the concrete tiles with the glazing are more affordable, but you pay a lot more for the clay tiles.
Are they very common?
Yeah, they're still about.
Yeah,
my word.
okay.
And you got the profiles are amazing. So then that leads on to not just material, but the shape of your roof. Mm-hmm. You know, we've spoken about that before, but be aware if you do a complicated roof, lots of cool angles and shapes and stuff, it's going to be more expensive.
Oh, of course it is.
Well, you say of course it is, but people don't really realise that because, it looks amazing. But all the flashings, the gutter, you know, how you put eaves in underneath and little nooks and crannies, and it's very labour intensive. The types of roofs, if you're going for, say, a new house, a squillion roof, like, you know, slopes one way or two ways, two squillions, is always going to be more expensive than a hip roof, you know. So your standard roof, which has ridges and valleys. From what I'm told, you're looking at about a 5% increase in your exterior.
Okay.
We had on our notes here synthetic roof materials, which is, I understand it as your bitumen tiles, like in America.
Yes, you see it a lot over there.
Yeah, and it's a very interesting product. We've done a couple of those, but they were a premium product here in Australia.
Oh, really?
Yeah, very much so, because they're not very common. And it does look cool. It's a different look, very different look.
Yeah, it would
be. For our climate, we don't see it very often. One thing you've got to consider with roofs is if you like the boxy look, lots of boxes and parapets, and if your roof design is then forcing you to have internal gutters, box gutters.
Your favourite.
Yes, I go there. It's the cost of those are huge.
Not to mention the maintenance cost of those as well.
Of course, you've got to get up there and clean them. They don't clean themselves.
Yeah.
And that's just fact. But box gutters cost a lot of money and I always recommend to do them in stainless steel. They rust out. Because you just imagine water's
sitting
will
in
fall.
them.
Well, they don't sit. They because you design them to have a gutter board and it'll all fall away. But if your whole house moves slowly, and it does happen, because they're so flat and it's minimum fall, the water can sit in there and will rust them out.
Yeah, right.
So your rain heads and your sumps, they will rust out over time if they're just out of colour bond.
You get
So
leakage
and... Well, you get rust a hole straight through.
Oh, dear.
Especially when you're closer to the coast for obvious reasons because of salt in the spray and in the air. So consider your roof shapes. Try and keep it simple. The Scandi barn, you know, we keep talking about that. Everyone loves it. I know you love it. And you keep showing me pictures of the houses that you like and everyone's a Scandi barn and they look awesome. I love them.
Yeah.
But you pay a premium for those again.
Of course, I've got expensive taste.
Oh, we know that. But, you know, the type of sheeting that you use, that as I mentioned before, you've got the specialised folded sheets and they look amazing. I'm not joking, and you might want it in a matte finish. That's pretty popular.
Yep.
Crazy expensive.
Yeah, right.
And then, it's even more expensive, the flashings around your windows, your doors and everything else, because if you don't get the flashings right, it looks like rubbish.
Yeah, okay.
So you're going to pay for that. You look at the surrounds that go around windows, those big shrouds. I love them. They're fantastic. Again, you're paying a lot of money for those.
I've seen a few of them on sort of modern designed houses.
Yeah, I saw one on this week, a house that we designed, and they changed, instead of a traditional sill, they ended up putting that shroud around the window. So that was the last minute change they made, and I'm thinking, The reason I don't like about them, in the case that I saw, which was a piece of, I think it was about 8mm steel plate all the way around, didn't have a decent fall on it, and I worry about the water blowing back into the house.
Yeah, okay.
So those considerations need to be done. So that's a little bit about roofs. Hopefully that helps, but stay away from the box gutter, people. Seriously. Look, we still design them where we have to. You don't have a choice sometimes. But you design them well and they will last and you look after them, but they are expensive. So don't do it. If you're on a budget, don't do it. What material next?
Let's look at...
There's plenty of choices here. Come on, it's a whole house.
Yeah, I know. Let's look at walls.
Okay, walls. Well, you got brick,
Yes.
block,
Yes.
sandstone,
Yes.
rock.
Yes.
They're all could be done very nicely.
You've got metal claddings and...
And you've got decorative blocks now. Island block and paving with their recycled glass inside the blocks.
Oh, I haven't seen that. That sounds
Yeah,
cool.
it's been around for nearly 10 years.
Has it?
Yeah,
No.
it's great.
Cool.
Yeah, it's very cool. So they use concrete. They make all these different coloured blocks and they put recycled glass in it.
Yeah, right.
Beautiful Tasmanian invention. Very proud of those guys. Done a great job. Yeah, cement sheet, colour bonds you can do, as we were talking about. A lot of these custom folded type of sheetings. Lysart are doing quite a number of those as well. Very nice. What else?
I don't know.
Cement sheet.
Oh, yes.
Fibre cement sheet.
Oh, yes.
There's heaps of that stuff.
Timber?
Yes, lots of timber. So the cement sheet, you got your Skyon, Cemetal brands, and there are some people think this stuff's cheap. Cement sheet's cheap. There are certain, and if you look at a cost range, brick, I won't mention what I think the dollar rate here in Tasmania is because I think it's a fair bit higher than the mainland. But the cement sheet, some people think, that's always going to be cheaper. There are certain versions of the cement sheets, i.e. weatherboards, big sheets, are cheaper than brick. But then there's all these like the Matrix, the nice squares with the rebate look, and Sky and Stria, some of the Cemetal products, and they could be twice the price.
Really?
Yep.
Wow.
Some of them are, but they look really awesome. With the right paint, you get your colour consultant working on that as well. It can look amazing and you get to get a right blend with it too. We spoke about the colour bond, as you mentioned. I recommend getting, if you really like it, you can use a feature at the front of the house and it might have a matte finish on it, which looks really trick, and get the flashings right around the front door, or it could be around one corner of the house. Looks fantastic.
Yeah, nice.
Timber, I've got my personal favourite, WeatherTex there. I love the WeatherTex.
You love WeatherTex.
Yeah, I love how the natural finish of it, but you can also get the painted version. You've got the smooth, textured, lots of variety there. And they also do weatherboards and all the Matrix looks, square looks as well. Great product, great Australian company, and made in Australia.
I might have to look at that for myself.
Yeah, I love that. I love supporting the Australian stuff. Vinyl cladding.
Vinyl cladding.
Yeah, there's different variants of this stuff, but remember the old vinyl weatherboards? That was the thing.
Oh, really?
Yeah, the people used to do it over old weatherboards, so they didn't have to paint anymore.
That sounds hideous.
It's nasty.
I was going to say, it sounds awful.
Look, especially when they retrofit over old buildings, because we're just doing some work on a place down in Vermey, and it's got plastic weatherboards, but it's over the existing weatherboards.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
And does it look awful?
It looks funky. Look, you get up close and it's going, come on. Plastic
no.
flashings and...
Yeah.
Yeah. But in saying that, though, you pull it off and it's bad, and the weatherboards are awesome.
Yeah, so it's protected them, I guess.
And that's the beauty of renovating. People make some poor decisions, or they didn't want the maintenance anymore, and I totally get it. It's a bit like the old fake brick sheets they used to put over weatherboards.
Oh, yes, I've seen that.
And they're all made of asbestos.
Yes, I have seen that.
Yeah.
There's a few in town, actually.
Oh, there's been a lot.
Yeah.
There used to be a lot more, but people pull them off and the weatherboards underneath are fine. They're well protected.
Yeah.
So there is kind of benefits, I suppose. But I've seen whole houses done in vinyl cladding, and they were done near the coast. When you think about it, it makes a lot of sense.
It does make sense.
If it's UV stabilised or works well. Yeah, that's a few different claddings you can use, and I'm probably sure there's a ton more. But if you're on a budget, you need to do your research on this on the look too. Hardy Flex, or the old fibro cement sheet shack, right?
Yes, plenty of those.
Yeah, but you look at the James Hardy Flex, it's just cement sheet, nothing special. But I'm amazed what some designers and architects have done. And we've had the opportunity with a couple which just had the flat sheets, and then you put the strips, you put vertical strips on there, and it can give it quite a unique look.
Yeah, right. And it's fairly cost effective.
It's quite cost effective. It's being smart about this stuff and not making it complicated. Make complicated, it gets expensive. Mm-hmm. So there's a few things with cladding options. But in Tasmania, everything has to be made on battens. We have to have a cavity between the external cladding and the insulated frame. So we have a breathable membrane on there. Now, that's just a requirement. In Tassie and other states are slowly bringing that in. Get the house to breathe.
Yeah, that's important, and we've done a whole podcast on that.
Yeah. What now? What are we going to look at now?
I think we should look at the floor.
The floor.
The floor.
Good choice, man.
Yeah.
Not many choices in flooring, is there?
There's not heaps of choices,
That's
no.
crazy. We'll look at our goat hair carpet in our meeting room. And this thing's been down for 14 years. Okay. Colour's probably not what we want anymore.
It's a little dated,
Yeah,
lovely
a little bit dated.
Magenta.
Yeah, well, that's a nice way of putting it. But yeah, wool, you got all the different carpets. I've seen some wool carpets that are in old schools and stuff, and they're amazing, made here locally from the weaving mills up in Devonport. It's really hard to talk about the budget on that because you've just got to go around and do your shopping, but you pay for what you get for.
Yep.
You look at your vinyl flooring, you get cheap vinyl flooring, it's not going to last. It's going to go, and near UV, all goes a bit yucko.
Yes.
Click-clack flooring, tiles. Hey, I love a good tile floor.
I do too. It's pretty hard wearing.
Hard wearing, but hard on anything you drop on it as well.
And I guess that's what you have to weigh up in terms of your budget too, because sometimes going for a cheaper product may shorten the longevity of that product because it may be a lower quality.
Totally. But you know how many times people come to us, I'll just use the concrete floor.
What,
in
and
the
polish
house.
it?
Well, they polish it. They see the polished floor.
That's not cheap.
No, we know that.
That's really expensive.
Yeah, it can be, depending on the look that they want, but generally because you've got to put a coating over it, and the coatings are quite expensive, epoxy coatings.
Yes.
In saying that, you can get other epoxy coatings, and yeah, it's not the cheapest, but gee, you can get some really cool finishes on it.
Oh, definitely.
Doing your research, shopping around, looking at all your floor coverings, bathrooms, wet areas. I still am a big fan of tiles, still.
Me too.
The problem is we're going for these massive 600 by 600 tiles and bigger.
Yes.
And the way we do our showers and we have to have floor waste sometimes, it defeats the purpose of having these large tiles.
Especially if it's a small space. It seems ridiculous, really.
Yeah, it is. Up the walls, it's a lot easier, but now the floors are getting more complicated due to the waterproofing and floor waste requirements. You do need to be very careful. And if you can afford to have a interior designer to assist you, they can give you all the best advice on that as well.
Yes.
But it needs to be tiles, vinyl, welded vinyl, so it looks like an institution.
Welded vinyl?
Yeah, so you got vinyl up the walls and you just weld it up the
Oh,
wall.
yeah.
It's like old age care facility. They last forever.
Yes,
They're amazing.
they do, yes.
So I'm not a big fan of those, but there's some really other cool ideas out there. Timber is virtually eliminated out of bathrooms nowadays. It's very, very hard to do.
Yeah, and I mean,
But
makes sense.
I've seen some very cool tiles trying to get that timber look in them, though.
Well, we have a room in our house, not in the bathroom. It's just the rumpus room, but it has the timber look finish, and I have to say they've come up really, really good.
And the wearing all right?
Well, it's not used as heavily as the other rooms of the house, so they look really good.
I wonder about all the ridge lines, What about, so talking about floors, polished timber floors?
Yes.
You don't see that too often anymore.
Well, not in new houses.
It's usually an overlay. They direct stick over plywood or something like that.
Yeah.
It's quite different to the old tongue and groove.
It is, like if you can get an old house and then
Oh,
polish
very
up
much so.
an older house, they come up amazing.
Oh, they do, but I built my house and I put tongue and groove hardwood flooring in, and you just can't do it now because the timber that's available isn't stable enough.
No, or to get anything decent is just costs a fortune.
It does. It's a shame, but that's what it is. It becomes a scarcity.
It does.
So enough on flooring?
I reckon.
Okay. What else? Internal walls, feature walls.
Do people still do feature walls?
Yeah, of course they do.
They would.
The,
They would.
the MDF, because that MDF craft wood.
The VJ groove kind
But
of.
there's all sorts of patterns. We just did an office reno and we put some of that in and came out really well.
Looks good.
Looks awesome.
Yeah, nice.
It wasn't crazy expensive either.
Yeah, right.
Don't need a plaster, obviously.
No.
There's a lot of work in finishing off the details and sanding it. Mm-hmm. So that's where you pay for that. So you could look at feature walls. Some of the cement sheet exterior claddings is feature walls. Now, plastering still is, it's going to cost what it's going to cost. So square set has been a lot more cost effective. You know, you don't need a cornice or anything like that. That's become a lot cheaper and it's not that much more expensive than doing cornices. So around your windows, I'm looking at our office now, we've got square set around the windows.
Yep.
That's come down in price compared to about 15 years ago where it was like all premium product, and now it's pretty common.
Yeah, okay.
So there's lots of options, but again, you've got to keep it simple and talk to your builder about the cost effectiveness of some of this stuff. So then if you're talking about walls, floors, well, then you're going to go into the different wet areas and kitchen, the central focus of your house.
Yes, well, that's usually not cheap.
Well, but you know why? Because everyone wants the best looking kitchen on the planet.
Yeah, there's
'Cause
really something to
central
be
hub.
said, about having a nice kitchen.
Oh, I don't disagree, but geez, some people go berserk on it.
Yeah, yep.
You know,
Stone bench tops as
Well,
opposed to
the
laminate.
man-made stone stuff now being banned.
Yes,
I'm not going to get in my soapbox here.
there's a silica dust.
Oh, it's a load of bullshit. Anyway,
That's a whole nother podcast.
a whole nother podcast. I'd love to get some people in on it because I reckon the government's just knee-jerk reaction on that. It comes down to OH&S safety and how you deal with a product.
Yeah, because even inhaling timber dust
Yeah,
would be
it's
not
been well
bad.
known.
Would be really
The
bad.
old MDF, Blackwood's well known for that,
Yep.
for the dust. It comes down to the personal
Safety.
protective gear and the breathing apparatuses you use. And you look at all the welding guys, you know, how they used to do welding with just a mask and all the fumes and stuff. But now they've got vented masks, head units, you know, it's all changing for safety and as it should.
Yes.
But to directly ban a product, yet there's a solution to it, I think that's just wrong.
Yeah, it's definitely limits.
Anyway,
Choices. Anyway,
my
that's
soapbox.
digressing a bit.
Yeah, digressing a little bit. So looking at kitchens, your variety is endless from your
fittings.
joinery, your finishes, tops, toe bases, your sinks, above bench, under bench,
Appliances.
crazy ass taps, air fryer in your new oven. Don't worry, I've just ordered one. It's got the air fryer in the oven.
What?
Cool, eh?
I'm going to put that in my house.
Yeah, it costs $500 more.
I don't care. That's one less appliance on the bench.
So you say you replace it with another one.
Yeah.
See, that's why I have a theory with walk-in butler's pantries, right?
Yeah.
Your walk-in pantries, whatever you want to call them. So we've got a whole bench to put all our appliances on.
Yeah, that's true. I don't disagree with you there.
And you know what people don't do? Because we've got a Thermomix. Man, the steam comes out of that thing. I'm putting another range hood in my pantry to deal with all the steam and stuff from all these appliances, which makes sense,
It
doesn't it?
does. Makes total sense.
So now I've got two range hoods.
But I mean, that's another really good point. You know, if you want to save on your budget, maybe you don't need that butler's pantry.
Yeah, everyone wants one.
They're very popular nowadays, aren't they?
We just did one on a budget house. We put it behind the whole. Sounds strange, but you have the kitchen, island bench. It was a galley style. Mm-hmm. Then you had a door that went out the back, but it had multiple entries into this room. So it was pantry and laundry.
I was going to say, did you put it in with the
Combine
laundry?
it together.
Yep.
Yeah. And I think it'll work quite well.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. But our kitchens have got big, haven't they?
They have gotten big, very big.
You go into any apartments and I don't know how people function.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, especially all the appliances. And maybe we've just got too many appliances and we're all a bit greedy on that.
Too many gadgets.
Too many gadgets. I
Yeah.
love a good gadget. Love a good coffee machine. Gotta have a coffee machine.
I know what you like with your coffee machine.
Keeps me going all day. So with your kitchens, I mean, it's all good to go look online and having all the pretty pictures and there's some amazing stuff. But it's not hard to spend on the most basic kitchen 50, 60 grand without even thinking about it.
Oh, yeah.
It-
Adds up
it's-
so quickly.
You know, I want to have this fridge, there's water, ice and tells me what the temperature is outside and what the news is going on. I mean, you're paying for that.
Oh, yes.
You know, it goes on and on with all the appliances. I'm utterly amazed. I'm having an argument with my wife about, I love my current dishwasher and it's really good, reliable. And I thought, I'll take it with us. Oh, no, it's the wrong colour.
Oh, no.
So we're having a bit of a tussle on this one.
I don't know if you're going to win this one, Frank.
We'll find out. Stay posted on that one. So, and working with someone on your kitchen, and that could be the joiner or your interior decorator, designer, they can certainly help you with this. But you've got to stick to a budget on. The kitchen's one of the biggest blowouts I've ever seen. It blows my mind.
Yeah, I think kitchens and bathrooms are probably the two dearest areas where you can blow out.
And some of the biggest blowouts I've found, especially with bathrooms, is the tiling.
Really?
Yep.
They've just picked expensive tiles?
Oh, bonkers crazy.
Yeah.
Not realising, that's going to work all right, but they haven't allowed for the install and cutting and the wastage.
Yes.
And then you go, holy crap, it's $40,000 just to tile my bathroom.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So same with choosing your shower rows, your taps and all that. You can pick some really nice stuff. $1,000 shower head, not hard at all.
Oh, that's easy to do.
Choose to go frameless on your shower screen.
Yes.
You know, and add a big glass door to it and bang, there's another $4,000. Thanks for coming.
Yeah.
Fancy taps. The brushed aluminium, it's all going to look like shit in 10 years. Anyway, but what I actually think actually makes certain rooms look really good is good lighting, good attention to lighting.
I think electrical is probably one people don't think about, especially if they're wanting extra PowerPoints and stuff like that.
Oh, yeah. You pay per PowerPoint. And
yes.
Same with your Cat 6 outlets. Everything goes Wi-Fi, but it's more reliable with Cat 6. Plug in, with certain spots for certain appliances, your TVs and stuff, it's going to work better.
Yeah.
But even just getting some nice LED lighting around your benches and lighting around, especially your bathrooms, around your mirror, getting that right. You can buy these really cool mirrors with the lighting behind it.
Yeah, okay.
So, again, do your research. It's almost worth setting a budget for each room.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Yeah, and then work with someone on it. And it's amazing. You might buy the product, but how much is it going to cost to install? Mm-hmm. So I'm looking at a particular type of window to go into my house, but I found out it would cost 4 times as much to install it due to all the flashings, fixings and stuff, because they're a very good window, high-performing window, but a lot more effort has to go into putting them in and making it watertight. So same with whatever you choose, it may cost a lot more to put in, like your underbench sinks. Of course it's going to cost more to do that because you've got to finish the edge of your top.
Bench top, yeah.
And as an average person, you don't know that until you go through it. This is where it's hard to stick to a budget.
Yeah, it is.
And one of my favourites, I think I like a raked ceiling in my living area.
I mean, they do look amazing.
Cool. But on the average house, say if your living area is 5 by 10, let's just say, pick a number, you're going to drop close to 15 to 25,000 depending on the finish on it.
Really?
Not hard at all.
Wow.
It's a lot more structure. You've got to fit all your insulation, but not only that, it's got to breathe. It's got to have airflow through it. But then that means there's more plaster. It's a higher ceiling.
Yes.
I mean, your lighting's different.
Yes.
If you've got high-level glass, that's custom. The engineering is different. The framing's different. Mm-hmm. Everything's different, and it costs heaps more.
Yeah.
And that's just fact. We can't control that. Just because you want it doesn't mean it costs the same as a truss roof. Also consider looking at the stuff that you're adding onto your house, i.e. putting decks. A lot of people love decks, but if it's low to the ground, like I'm really low, like a couple 100 mil, 20 centimetres.
Why not put pavers?
Bingo. Heaps cheaper, no maintenance.
Yes.
If it's a timber deck, everyone loves a timber deck. I actually loathe them because of the maintenance now. I'll go for the recycled plastic timber ones from here on in. Just no maintenance. I'm overdoing, spending a week prepping decks and repainting them in 2 years. You've got to do it again to make them look
good.
nice.
Yeah.
So, look at paving. And there's amazing paving out there. And if you break one, or unlikely, but if you stain it with your barbecue, the fat from your barbecue, pick them up, flip them over.
Oh, yeah. It's a good trick.
Yep. So, look, these are just little tips and tricks, I suppose. And it is talk to people, talk to your builder. Your builder knows what stuff costs and how hard it is to install some of this stuff.
Mm-hmm. So what are the take-home points for anyone that is wanting to stick to a really tight budget and they don't really know where to start?
I think you start with your designer and your builder. Find a builder, a reputable builder, talk to their previous clients, qualify him as such, good, honest builder that's happy to build a budget home, and then can work with a designer that can keep you in line with your budget. And it can be done. You've got to get creative with certain things, but when it comes to pure building and the cost to install things, keep it simple. Use the KISS principle. Yeah. Keep it simple, stupid.
Good idea. All right, well, we might wrap it up there, folks. Thanks for listening to the Building Design Primetime Podcast.
Catch us later.
You're listening to the Building Design Primetime Podcast.